Like,
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another cup of self-empowerment to trust, heal, and be thyself. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome a very special lady into our cuppa house today, all the way from Canada. And welcome, Teresa K. Welcome here. We're so delighted to have you with us. And for those of you who have not met Teresa, you're going to be into an absolute treat today because there's so much magic which emanates from this lady. And let me just give you a little bit of background knowledge so you can have a feel into who Teresa is. So as a young girl, Teresa K was gracefully blessed with a full-on illumination experience of unity consciousness that imbued a mysterious light of purity in her heart that allows her to connect with the archangels and use that for healing. With her blessed illumination experience happening at such a young age, she's been able to capture the mastery skills over many decades that's needed to weave threads of multidisciplinary spiritual knowledge and wisdom just for you that will reflect your uniqueness. Incorporating the skills of the Akashic Records, energy work, tarot, and oracle cards, and much more, she supports people internationally to find their true, illuminated, and enlightened beingness. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for joining us today. So welcome, Teresa.
oh, thank you. Thank you, Kelly. I just feel so blessed and
Good.
so
We're blessed to
honored.
have you with us. We really are. So
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's really keen to hear how you started your journey of trusting thyself. As we've read from your bio, that it started at a very early age. And I'm sure as such a young girl to have that experience, for you to trust into it, that is, pretty amazing to think that, you think you might be scared or something like that. Tell us about it. Tell us how it all unfolded.
Oh, okay, of course. I think I was around 5 or 6. We were playing a game called Kick the Can. It's like a hide and seek game.
Okay.
And, I was running around, going to hide. And then suddenly I was frozen on the spot. I couldn't move a muscle. I saw light come down all around me, and you could say it was like a bright white light.
Mm-hmm.
But when I described it to someone, they said there's a song lyric that captures it.
Oh,
And
wow.
it does. And the light that I call brilliance with a capital B
Yeah.
was like 1,000 crystal swans in a sky of suns.
Oh, wow. I'm getting goosebumps. You saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah. There were
Oh,
angel
wow.
bumps, and it just infused and went through all of me. I was completely dissolved
Oh,
within it. And there was no moment or any fear that came up, right? What
wow.
was interesting is right away I knew that the universe is light and love and
Mm-hmm.
very, very benevolent, that the universe has my back, that we're all looked after,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Creator wants what's best for us. And I'll use the word creator, but feel
Yeah.
free, God, source,
Yeah, whatever relevance is resonates with
Yeah,
whoever's
of
with
course.
who are you with.
I
Yeah.
knew that we were all connected in like one glorious, at that time, like group, right?
Yeah, but in such a young age to actually just understand that and accept it, but obviously it probably wasn't the conditioning, the judgment wasn't there. It was just, you were connected direct to the heartbeat, basically, of that light.
Yeah, and I knew exactly that there was no difference really essentially from me and say you or
Hmm.
the tree, because we were all created from the same energy,
True.
right? So we are all equal,
Yeah.
right? We're all stardust sort of manifested here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we're here. And I also knew that if someone did something that, let's just say, wasn't kind,
Hmm.
like, didn't they know that they were actually doing it to themselves,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I knew if there was anything that I could see or touch or smell, that it actually didn't really exist, that it's
Wow.
more like a patina, of energy, and that there's so much more going on out there that we could possibly dream of, right?
Yeah.
And I knew if I wanted anything in the moment,
Hmm.
I knew it would have immediately manifested for me. And at that age, maybe like an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
But you know what, Kelly? I was so complete. I was so like I didn't want for anything because I already was everything.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess,
And
did you feel like love? Did you just feel purity in that
I
moment?
love purity, a place where I belonged, and
Wow. That's
I
huge. And
oh,
especially for a little girl, that is huge.
it's huge. I felt home. I
Oh,
was home.
I'm getting very, I've got my whole, I've got goosebumps all over my body. My eyes are starting to well up, which is what happens when I get like full blown, everything goes
Oh.
on. So, oh my goodness. Wow. So how did you, I mean, I guess when you felt all that and it was so clear to you that trusting was no other option for you.
That's right. I don't know how long it lasted.
Yeah.
What's called a full-on illumination
Yeah.
experience. But all of a sudden it stopped, and
Okay.
it was like, oh, I guess everybody knows that I'm the one that's catching up. And so
Oh,
even if I did have anyone to tell, and we're talking mid 1960s, right?
oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
There wasn't anything to tell, and it was a bit of a double-edged sword because I could always see, the God, the light in everyone.
Wow. That's a
And
beautiful thing to
oh,
be able to see.
well,
That's
it is, but it never occurred to me they might do something unkind.
mm-hmm.
So I made like the perfect, pardon me, but victim,
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say you're the perfect target for everyone else too. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, completely naive, right?
Mhm.
And if you add to that a very dysfunctional family of origin, right?
Yeah,
Even Kelly, with all this light, I still didn't want to be here. My wounds were so deep.
I can understand that, which leads me
Yeah.
on to my next question. You talk about your wounds were so deep. How did you start to heal those wounds? How did obviously, regardless of that feeling of love, of purity, of oneness, of, unification, and seeing, it must have been actually really challenging to see only the goodness and then feel something completely different, the polarity being, put towards you. And if that's opening up wounds and creating those wounds, and you're having, how did you go about trying to heal that?
I didn't for decades. All
Wow.
I didn't have trust in myself. I didn't know who
Okay.
I was. I was so fractured and so lost. The only continuity of self I felt was that brilliance.
Okay,
That
so every time that lack of self-trust came in, you connected to that brilliance again to just
yeah,
get you back into that so you felt safe, I guess.
I felt safe. It sustained me. I know it kept me alive,
Wow.
especially at challenging times in my
Oh,
life.
wow.
And truly, the that grace was my saving grace.
Definitely.
You know.
Definitely. And obviously,
So
for us who have not had, for anyone who hasn't experienced, I mean, I'm in awe now because I can't actually imagine how that would feel, having that trust so deep as a young child. And then stuff happens, life happens, the world around us is not always very pretty and kind. And we have to deal with that. And for you to lose that trust in yourself again and have to work through decades of trying to reclaim that so you could start on your own personal healing journey, that is, I can't even put that into words because there are no words that can describe that.
no,
Yeah.
there are no words to describe that, but
No,
it's
there
feeling
isn't.
tones, and I
Yeah,
hope
I can feel it. I can feel it, but I can't, it's just it's like beautiful that you had and amazing that you had that experience, but it's so saddening and heartbreaking to feel that there was only you being able to check into that experience to keep you wanting to stay alive, you know?
Yes, it
That,
was the
and
full spectrum.
that's heart-wrenching. It really is. Yeah.
It was. My inner world did not match my outer world,
Yeah.
right? Let alone, the people and influences
Yeah.
around me in my environment. It was truly the agony and the ecstasy,
Yeah.
kind of
Did you actually
all
share this
isolated.
experience with anybody, even at a later date, like your family or someone?
No, they
Wouldn't have
would
understood.
not have been open to that.
Yeah, I understand that. I
Yeah.
understand that.
You know.
That's absolutely okay. So, decades later, you started, you know, bit by bit, trying to reclaim that trust back to yourself and evidently started your own healing journey.
Yeah.
So, where did
Yeah.
that all start? What was like the kind of the first door opener for you where you said, okay, that's going to help me, I think. I'm going to try it. I'm curious. I'm going to try that to see because I really
Right. Well, because I considered that experience a spiritual one,
yeah.
I thought, okay, well, the light's spiritual, so I'm going to look in that direction. That is truth, not
Mm-hmm.
what I found here,
Yeah.
right? And so I was, looking into, alternative healing, cultural, religious, philosophical beliefs and practices, and
Mhm.
even science to explain
Yeah,
some,
of course. Yeah, they're
you
so
know.
that like that really at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely, because there
Mm.
was a lot of sort of spontaneous, non-local events like bilocating and things that happen in, right? And
Oh,
being in
wow.
two times at the same time.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, no one could answer those questions for me. So I dove in deep and I did a dream incubation when I was commercial fishing. I
Oh,
did
wow.
I didn't know what I was going to do, so I did an incubation, which is sort of like intending for yourself as you drift off to sleep in that hypnagogic state to get an answer in some way.
Okay. Yeah.
And for me, it had to be fulfilling, it had to be good for the community, and
Mm-hmm.
it had to be feasible,
Yeah.
right?
Very important. It has to be feasible because how can
Well,
you put it into action if it's not feasible? Yeah.
well, it had to be a business if I did that that would succeed, or if I
Yes.
bought a business, the books were accurate, like, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, by the way, that's a lot for a dream incubation, but,
That was a lot, actually. That was like
usually it's one thing.
I just have one request. Can I have that, and that, and maybe that as well? But we need to make sure this all goes hand in hand. But oh yeah, and that one as well. Yeah.
Right, right.
I'm
Or
done. I'm done
something
now. Thank
better.
you. Okay, let's dream. I'm waiting. Thank you.
I know time doesn't exist, but really?
Yeah. They're like, really, Teresa? We've got others to go and visit right now. Come on. We know they can be everywhere at the same time. So yeah.
Oh,
So you had all
absolutely.
this, and did it
Yeah.
all come through? Is the question I'd like to ask.
Well, it did. I had a dream that night of owning and operating a metaphysical store, like a body, mind, spirit store, a spiritual store, whatever,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And so I got up and I thought, okay, I can do that. So I wrote out a list of everything in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
I gave notice to my skipper, like my boss, while I was commercial fishing.
Oh,
And so, we fished for another week. We got in harbor, sold the catch, etc., drove home. So from the time I had the dream to when I opened my doors for sales, and keep in mind before computers,
yes,
right?
of
And
course.
I
Before
never
the
had
internet,
a,
before everything. Yeah. It's
this is
all
a
word
long
of
time
mouth with
ago.
everything, isn't it?
Well, finding suppliers
Yeah.
and, putting out credit applications, all that stuff. From
Yeah.
the time of the dream to when I opened my doors, it was only 5 weeks,
Oh my goodness, that's an incredible short time.
Oof. And one way I know I'm on the right path is when synchronicities appear. So I
Yeah.
think it's important to know that, however they are, a
Mhm.
multiplication of something, seeing, so-called angel
Yeah.
numbers, etc. And so that's what really got me going, right? I
Okay.
started to actually learn healing modalities, like the gateway modality is,
Yeah,
Reiki, right?
it is the gateway one, basically. Yeah, totally.
And slowly, step by step, I trudged that path of healing.
Hmm.
Slowly over time, I learned to trust myself. And often that trust came because of a shared experience, like I was in a class or with someone and I shared something and someone says, "Oh, I have that too." I
Yeah,
was still looking outside of myself for the authority, but it
yes,
was a good place to start.
definitely, definitely. It's like having that mirror in front of you, confirming you what you already know, and also so you can actually trust it and believe it and start
Ab-
embodying it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I needed that support. I
I
knew
think
my
we all do. I think each and every single person needs that because it's a huge, it's a huge thing to actually surrender to. And surrender, I find, is a massive word in itself. It really is.
Oh my gosh, surrender.
I find it very hard.
Well, we get so attached to whomever we think we are or what we're doing.
Yes.
Surrendering is allowing the void to come up within us and being okay, comfortable even with that inner silence, right? And that's
It's
an
not
essential.
very silent where I am at the moment. It started to thunder and lightning outside. So and really heavy rain. So if anyone's going to hear that, I do apologize.
Well, that's perfect timing that you said that because that is the times when old voices came up taunting me down self-sabotaging pathways or
Mhm.
negative self-talk, right?
Oh, we all have that.
Oh, absolutely. But I needed to be okay with that.
Hmm.
That whatever came, it was okay. That I am okay. That I'm fine just as I am, right?
Definitely. And we're grateful that you're just as you are. Totally. So I'm really curious. So you had your dream, you got your 5 weeks in between, you opened your place. And how did it all unfold from there?
Oh, brilliantly. It was actually more of a center than, like, say, a
Oh,
store, right?
cool.
Meaning, I had a couple rooms in the back, so I got readers in or herbalists for,
Oh, that's amazing. So
I had,
you were also supporting others to step into their own light as well, which is
oh,
incredible.
yeah, absolutely, Kelly. It was part of the dream incubation of it has to be good for our community,
Definitely. So you done
right?
well with your long list of things you needed in your dream incubation. I'll be
I
curious
very,
to know how many people try that tonight.
yeah, it works brilliantly. You might not get the answer like I did immediately that night, but keep at
But
it.
it comes exactly when we all know that we receive that information when it's right, when we're ready to embody it, when we're ready to receive, when we're ready to take that step. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. Just like when those shadows come up within us, they come to our
Oh,
awareness because it's time. And this is a good time to mention that shadows aren't the absence of light. Shadows are non-visible light that also contains information. And those are the pearls we're actually looking for because they're doorways to what could maybe be healed
yeah.
next.
They're a
Uh,
gateway to say, come on, it's time to move to the next level, basically. And it's
yeah.
incredibly painful and it's incredibly hard. And every time it comes up, we're like, oh, really? No, I thought I dealt with that. And now it's coming back. But as you say, it's another gateway. And it's also a confirmation to acknowledge how far you've come, I think, as well.
That's right. When people, talk about Saturn return, and, astrologers know it has a
Mhm.
20-year cycle. And every time it comes to a cross border point, or especially back to your time of birth, so multiples of 28, it's
Ah,
like,
okay. Thank you for explaining that. I hear the Saturn return the whole time, and astrology is not my forte. I will be very honest. So thank you for that, for explaining that to myself and to anyone else who wanted to know what Saturn return was. So that's really good to know. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. So the quarter, I mean, like being born, and then say half of that is so being born at 14, major life lesson time, coming back to 20, 28 plus 28, which is what, at age 56. Like it just keeps going circle, circle. Sorry, I
Okay.
did the math wrong, but that's okay. It just circle, circle. And it does seem at times, Kelly, that hey, haven't I dealt with this? Now
Mhm.
it could be just a refinement of it, or have you actually accepted the teaching? Have you
Yeah.
integrated it, and therefore are you embodying it?
Mhm.
Can you pass it on actively or passively, you know,
Yes.
to share it, right?
Uh,
And if you have, then it could be something similar, but on a higher arc, like an up one more spiral up the staircase of our
mhm.
evolutionary journey.
I understand. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
do. Oh, it's really winding outside, so I'm sorry if it's really loud. I think it matches our conversation, blowing out all the old stuff and cleansing with the rain at the same time. So that's good.
yeah,
Oh, so
absolutely.
what areas, you started healing yourself? So you started with the Reiki, which you say from all of us is basically that's that first stepping stone. And when we step on that, then everything else starts going, and then we get called in different directions, which is more led to our soul, what we're here to, embody and learn and serve. And I know that you've done so much stuff. Would you like to share all the healing modalities that you've learned along the way on your
Oh,
after your dream of manifestation?
well, there was Reiki, there was crystals. I don't know how many certifications I have
Yeah,
in,
it's
you know,
not it's you don't need
yeah,
a certificate behind it. Obviously certain things it's nice, but some people just have it there anyway, and it's already switched on. So,
right.
and yours was obviously switched on with that experience when you were a young girl. So
Mm.
everything was just like for you to the certification probably served for you as a deeper understanding to what it was and how to work with it, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, and again, a validation
Yeah.
that I was worthy. It's
Yes.
almost like, look, I have this paper, right?
True.
See,
Yeah.
I'm a certified crystal therapist or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And essentially, I was just open to anything that what it was of the light, something that was life
Yeah.
affirming, and something that was loving. And I cast my net very wide for teachers, mentors, guides. I asked for help, and it came, right?
Yeah.
And I needed such a broad base of modalities, understanding, learnings, because I needed a broad base healing for me because
Yeah.
the pictures were so deep. So it was like learning, shamanism. I haven't done
Mhm.
circles yet, but I can, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, oh gosh, card reading, working, like I said, with crystals. My
Mhm.
first tarot deck, which is a good way to stimulate your own intuition, I
Mhm.
got 45 years ago.
Wow.
That's a while.
That is. Ah.
That's a while, and anything that I was up for it, learning, dowsing, right?
Mhm. Thousands
If it
great.
if it helped me reconnect with the lost part of myself that I knew existed somewhere, either personally or with the reality that's so
Yeah.
much greater than each of us, then it
Mhm.
was worth it for me.
Exactly. I
And
find that myself. It's like when I reflect, like all the certifications I've done or all the programs I've done, it's because, as you said, it's that healing for myself. And if I'm healing myself, I'm going to have a ripple effect on those around me as well. And then sometimes when you're doing those modalities for yourself, it does unpack a direction for you, which you never thought might have been on your cards, to put a pun into it, to go down that path and share with others and actually, equally be the student, but also the teacher, but always still being the continuous student. So I can
Oh,
relate
yeah.
very much to what you're saying, that, you just were following what was calling to you to heal those aspects which needed that attention within yourself.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. There were some things, of course, that, you know, lit me up
Yeah.
quicker or easier, you know,
Yeah.
like and that's great. Those are the passions that we follow. That's what we don't think, oh, I'm going to have to learn this, so therefore kind of
Yeah.
put the cart before the horse. But honestly, that's where I started, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, I'm drawn to gardening, I'm drawn to, sacred numerology, which is
Yeah.
number and proportion and
Mhm.
vibration. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm drawn to the Akashic records. I
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I'm completely drawn to the Akashic Records and to energy healing, but things like human design and astrology, I think they're amazing, but whoop, not for me. And that's okay, because there's other
yeah.
souls out there who are doing that beautiful work,
Mhm.
and it's for me also, it's sometimes you want to go to someone as well to
Oh, truly.
receive,
Yeah.
to
Well,
receive.
it's an exchange, right?
Yes.
It's always an
Yes.
exchange, right? And
Yeah.
the Akashic Records is probably my most often requested type of session. And
Yeah.
people have said I have like they taste like a shamanistic essence to it.
Ooh, nice.
Because, as you know, we open up the records and there's so much information
There is.
contained within there. And sometimes there's things that we know we could help clear and adjust for the person in the moment because we're, face it, we're in their quantum field,
Yes.
let's do it. And so that happens and they feel it because it's in real time, so to
Yes.
speak, but in all times, but definitely in the now.
Mm.
Sometimes I get a vibration of, let's just say, an ascended master. And
Mhm.
the records are just for that person, but maybe in another reality or timeline, they were a devotee of, Krishna or, Jesus or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll feel it. And it's like, oh, is that Kuan Yin or Mother Mary? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Do you know who Kuan Yin is? And then yeah, they usually don't. I said, well, in some life in your past, you were associated with it. So just a little, couple minute teaching.
Yeah.
Would you like to reconnect with that and maybe start that supportive guidance in this life again? And people
Yeah.
always say yes.
Of course they do. Yeah.
And as you probably know, you kind of turn up the volume,
You do.
sort of,
Yeah.
and sort of get them vibing with it. They might not understand it. They don't need to.
They don't need
But
to understand it, no, because
well,
it gets unpacked to them how they need to understand it.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
That's right. And that's just like the healing. When I
Mhm.
was doing this, like a hero's journey, right?
Mhm.
That we're all on, I had no idea where it was going to lead me. It didn't matter. What did matter, Kelly, is I decided to show up for myself.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And when was the moment where you would say, when you stepped into being unapologetically you and saying, I'm being myself. This is me. This is Teresa.
I think I knew that moment when I just felt this sense of freedom. It
Wow.
was almost like a tipping point came with all these decades of small incremental healings.
Yeah.
I guess I cleared enough away where I
Mhm.
could finally, heal. I could see myself. I could feel
Wow.
myself. I could experience myself and not the programmings, etc., that I took on from
Yeah.
other people in my world or other lives that seemed
Yeah.
to drive what my reality was.
Mhm.
Right?
Totally.
And it was like, oh, this is me. I'm comfortable in my own skin.
And that is a huge accomplishment to be that, to be able to say, I'm comfortable in my own skin. I like who I am.
Yeah.
I accept who I am and I want to get
Yes.
to know who
Yes.
I am better. I
Mhm.
want to have a deeper relationship with myself because, she's pretty cool. I quite like her.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
even the parts that I'm not,
Yeah, we've
overly
all got the
fond of.
parts that we don't, but we accept them and say, okay, that's
Yeah.
part of me.
Yeah, and that's part of that, surrendering that you spoke of
Yeah.
earlier, is just allowing, not judging ourselves. Because when I stopped judging myself, I stopped judging others, right?
That's
When I
true
could
as well.
really
Mhm.
have compassion for myself, I had an even deeper level of compassion and loving kindness for others, because therefore, but for the grace of God, go I.
Yeah.
Right?
And a lot of the time we tend to have that compassion and less judgment for those outside of ourselves and place more judgment on ourselves. So to have that, to know and say, to declare to yourself, okay, if I love who I am and I don't judge myself, I'm not, and then to see how it ripples out with the judgment stops around you as well. That's
Oh,
really a lovely way to flip it as well. I like that.
oh,
Yeah, I really like
truly
that.
so. I was able to claim my own authority.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
I want that. No, I don't want that. Before it used to be, oh, I'm going to this event. I hope they like me.
Yes.
And then when you know, oh, I'm going to this event, I hope I like them, but not in a haughty or egotistical
No,
way.
but I hope I feel comfortable and that I'm going to enjoy it. And then, because if you're not going to feel comfortable, you're not going to take any greatness away with you from it. And you're not going to be showing up there in a great way either. It's not going to be an alignment, energetic alignment for anybody.
Perfect. Energetic alignment, absolutely. Getting rid of the untruths allowed my truths to rise up. And you could look at it as values or virtues, right?
Yeah.
They're the things that really define me and in my deepest truth here in my earth walk. And as long as I adhered to those, I was in alignment with my truth on
Yes.
any level of
Yeah.
any spectrum there. And then when we walk with that level of integrity, we don't create wobbles or what I call bonus lessons.
Bonus
Things
lessons. No one
that,
wants bonus
like,
lessons.
oh, I'm going to ignore that red flag, or, oh, really,
Easy.
creator, but I really want to dot, dot, dot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, yes, bonus lessons.
Yeah.
And so when there's no wobbles, even a deeper sense of peace, serenity, living harmoniously, not only with myself, but with all my relations, right?
Yeah, well, we
That,
can feel anyone who's watching us right now is going to be able to feel that in your energy because I can feel that completely. It's just so calm. And so there's just truth there. It's just truth. And that truth has such a calming and loving,
oh,
it's energetically comforting, I find. And it's very, yeah, it's soothing. It's very soothing. So thank
beautiful.
you for that as
Oh,
well.
and thank you, because you mirror that back to me. That's exactly how
Oh,
I feel
thank
sharing
you. Oh, thank you so
sacred space,
much.
this beautiful container you've created for all of us.
Oh, thank
Ah,
you. So, what would you personally like to share with our viewers today if they're on their journey, which they surely are if they're watching this cuppa, of mastering thyself, so to say? What little snippets of golden nuggets or little clues or little, yeah,
oh,
tips would you like to share?
so many pearls, so little time.
Yeah, I
Um,
can imagine.
uh, keep it simple,
hmm
manage your expectations. If you don't trust yourself, act as if I trusted myself,
That's
or
brilliant. Yeah.
as if I thought I was worthy, right?
Okay. Yeah,
Doing the as if technique works with all sorts of things.
it does. Yeah. Yeah,
You it's important, it really is, to have a daily spiritual practice. I
it
think it's
is.
better just to calm, even for 1 minute a day, 1 minute a day, pardon me, compared to like an hour 1 day a week.
I have to agree with you there because there's moments where life just gets hectic and I slip out of that. And then where I start to,
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
everything starts going, you're like, okay, where am I not showing up for myself? Oh, yeah, I didn't do this, that, and that. And I'm not saying, like you said as well, you don't need to have like hours. It's literally creating that little bit of, it's honoring yourself at the end of the day, isn't it? It's honoring that time to connect to yourself and to really quiet your mind so you can hear the whispers of your soul, basically, can't you?
Oh, beautiful. Quiet the mind and drop your awareness into your heart. That's where the
Totally.
truth comes, whether it's
Yes.
oracular consciousness, doing readings or doing healings or
Yeah.
preparing to be a practitioner in whatever
Yeah.
modality that you choose. this is the truth. All the answers are truly within us if we could just still our waters enough, right? Because everything is a self-initiation.
Yes,
Every breath is a prayer.
it is. It is. It's
No,
some every breath is something we can be grateful for at the end of the day, and we underestimate that. We
yeah,
do underestimate that.
we do. That's kind of part of the keep it simple,
It
you know.
is, yeah.
And being in observer mode is really important. That means, as one teacher says, you could live with life suction cupped on your face, react, 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 or you give yourself some breathing room and then respond, respond, respond,
Okay, I
right?
think I'm gonna have the visualization of the suction cup on my face when I have a moment of like, no, I don't want
Oh, it's so funny. Um,
that.
Try to also establish some way for you even to get a yes or no answer,
Mhm.
and that builds trust.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
I could share one quick, easy one
Yeah, go
now.
for it. We'd love
This
that.
is I like quick, easy, effective, free things, right? I
Yes,
adore empowering people.
yes.
So they don't need me. When I succeed, they don't need me,
Well, no,
right?
that's the end of the day. If someone doesn't need you anymore, you've done your job basically because they've got their self-empowerment back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly, exactly. So if you have, say, a question and say there's option A and option B, and you just don't know where to go, right?
Mhm.
Which one to go with, you can close your eyes and imagine there are two flowers, like just hovering there. Or even if you knew what they looked like, or felt like, or sounded like, or
Yeah.
smelled like, just, trust. And one will be option A, one will be option B, and they both look the same. I like to use roses because I'm rose oriented,
Yeah,
right?
I like roses too. I also like sunflowers. Roses and sunflowers are the things that go for
Oh,
me. Yeah.
of course you do. Okay. And so, you've got your question in mind, right? And you just ask, what what is the right choice for me for my best and highest good and for the highest good of all concerned? And then just stay still, stay in your heart, and you will notice that one of the flowers might get like a little bigger or a little brighter, or your attention will be drawn there. It might get
Mhm.
glisteny, or whatever. And or the other flower that is representative of not the best choice,
Yeah.
might get a little poopy,
Wilty. Yeah.
or like a little wilty, like that. There you go, quick and easy. Start with something simple.
And by doing that quick and easy one, you're also activating your clear senses as well at the same time because you're using your visualization. You're going with what you're feeling or sensing as well. So however, spirit wants to talk for you, will also start to drop in that moment when you do such active exercises, I feel.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
not everyone's meant to be
No,
clairvoyant.
and it's not an essential. It's,
No, no,
everyone,
it's
and you
not.
might just feel and know right here. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and that is
absolutely.
amazing.
Just experiment, play around. What's good for you? You can have two objects on your table, you know, option A or option B. Which one is drawing, more
Yeah.
electrifying, or more, warmer? Because typically the clairsentience, or the body feeling, which is
Mhm.
very, very married up with being an empath, and
Mhm.
claircognizant, or clear knowing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's typically the one that most people feel more comfortable with claiming as,
Yeah.
okay, that I can do,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Trust that gut, basically. Trust that gut.
yeah. And
Mm.
live your life as if you trusted yourself.
Yeah,
Like, you know?
definitely. So, I'm sure there's people watching today who are thinking, hey, I really resonate with Teresa's energy and I would love to reach out to Teresa. How can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, thank you. My website is www.teresaclan.com. Do you want me to spell that, or will it go out?
That's fine. That'll be fine. I can
Yeah,
put that
it'll
down. That's
go out.
absolutely not a problem.
Facebook page, Teresa Clan. um, Insta, Happy Dolphin.
Yeah, where's the happy dolphin come from? I wanted to ask you, where's the dolphin part come from?
Well, who doesn't like dolphins, right?
Exactly. I was going to say it was already there. And I was like, Kelly, why would you just ask that? The answer was like already there. And I'm like, okay.
But well, this is a good time to say I'm a fan of what I called spiritual tourism,
Yeah.
traveling for like week-long immersive somewhere with other
Oh,
like-minded people for
yeah.
growth, development, community building, sharing, just luxuriating in
Yes,
rarefied environments that are uncommon in day-to-day life. And I went
definitely.
on a swim with wild dolphin program. So that just
Yes.
got in there in Hawaii. We swam with
Oh,
pilot whales too and sharks. They all three have unique energy signatures, let me tell you.
I
I
bet.
very much prefer the whale and the dolphin, right?
Yeah.
Just like there. Dolphins have so much personality, so much ego. They'll swim by, and if you don't look at them, they'll keep swimming closer and closer. And as soon as you acknowledge them, they'll go, okay, fine, and they'll go swim off.
Oh, little monkeys.
They are. They really, really are. Um, I do have a fun letter that I put out every month-ish. So you
Oh,
can,
wow. Yeah.
sign up through the website. I think on the
Okay.
bottom of the landing page, you subscribe there, and then
Wonderful.
that goes out. And it's always full of these free tips and tricks,
Brilliant.
right? And
Yeah.
also announcing where I go because I often do local shows here where
You
I live.
do, don't
I
you?
live
Yeah.
in the southern half of Vancouver Island. I'm known as like a tarot oracle card expert. And so I got well over 100 decks for sale each and every show,
Oh
and
my
everyone
goodness.
has an open copy of them.
Wow.
And that's for two reasons. One, so people could play with it and get to know it. Does it suit them? How does it feel?
That's really good because, we get attracted to certain decks and then sometimes we're buying it and we're like, okay, now I'm not vibing with it. So that's really good.
Yeah, it's good. And also, Kelly, so I could learn about it. If it's a new deck, if it's one I don't know, I won't feel comfortable selling it,
Yes.
promoting it if,
Yes.
I don't know it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another way. And on my website it's where to find me, and let me think. I guess that's about it.
Okay. Are I'm going to put this out here now. I don't know if it's something you've been considering, but you like to have all these retreat experiences. Is there any chance that you might be creating a retreat experience for others at some point in the future?
Isn't that funny? Because that's what the swim with wild dolphins lady told me. Like
Really?
years, years
Okay.
and years ago. One day, Teresa, you're going to be doing this. So maybe this
Okay, well,
is.
there we go. Maybe that's the message which needs to come through to
Oh my
remind you
God,
about
I'm
that.
getting angel bumps. Maybe I am, right?
Maybe because I've got them too. Yeah.
After doing many shows for many years and having a metaphysical store and then selling it after 7 years and being hired to work in other metaphysical stores, I get a sense, at least in this part of the world, what people are looking for.
Yes, I can
They are
imagine.
looking to trust themselves.
Yes,
That's the bottom line.
it is.
No,
It's where it
that's
all starts, really, at the end of the day.
yeah,
It's
it's
that
where it
first
starts.
tiny, 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 tiny baby step, which is really hard, but it does get easier. It does get easier.
It does. And it was hard at times.
Hmm.
Sometimes, like you said, I dropped the thread on my daily practices. So I lost momentum, maybe even going backwards a little
Yes,
bit.
you do. And you're like, and then you think about it and think, of course,
Of
yeah,
course.
of
Just
course.
even if you're just feeling your heart and let your heart beat, feel it in your body. Just become
Yeah.
aware, right?
And, all of us, some people can't live that out every day because, they've got a full-time job, which is providing their bread and butter at the moment. And that's absolutely fine. No one's saying that you have to go and be a spiritual entrepreneur. It's just making sure that you're connecting to yourself and being true to yourself and knowing that you can trust everything, what you're feeling, what you're knowing, and that ultimately you have everything within yourself. It's that reminding every reflection around us is reminding us to return within, even if they have to mirror and hold our hand for a bit and walk a certain part of the path with us. That's also really important.
Yeah.
because that's part of the trust building. That's
Oh,
part of
absolutely.
remembering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Every step is a initiation,
Oh,
and
yeah.
all initiations are is just making us more us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting. It's almost like paradoxical. I learn all this about me and I get it and I get it and I heal and I learn and I grow, and then I surrender it to the divine.
Yeah.
Just offer it up. And then there's this beautiful sense, like once there's that sovereignty that is a way of being, a baseline,
Mhm.
vibration for day-to-day life, then it's like, oh, I'm created from the divine. The divine's in me. Oh, I'm divine. I am
Mhm.
an emissary of the divine.
Yeah.
Please. And that's such a blessing, such an honor. And, how can I serve today?
Yes, how can I
How
say
can I
that?
show up? And that's important, to do something like volunteer or giveaways, or maybe being a practitioner of some point. Give back.
Yeah.
Back. We can all be like the hermit on the tarot card and shine our lights so other people can find theirs
Yeah.
and they pass it on. We are just walking the
Definitely.
paths of masters and magical beings that have already gone before us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just got goosebumps from my tips of my toes to the tops of my hair, and I'm just like, oh, this is such beauty, such purity, such radiance what you're sharing with us today. So thank you so much, and to make it so digestible and palatable and natural. That's so important, and it's an absolute honor to have you with us today. And I'm sure as our viewers like myself have taken so much wisdom with us. And yeah, I haven't got words which can put words into. It's just like every word's coming out, it's like that's not big enough, but there's, yeah, no, I'm just, your presence is very healing alone, and that ease and that fluidity that you have is, thank you for sharing that with us today. And I really appreciate that. And I'm sure
Oh,
everyone else does too.
we are all honored to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my
Thank
absolute pleasure. And thank you to everybody today for checking in with us, taking the time for thyself, grabbing your cuppa to have a cup of self-empowerment with us today. I have mine too. And yeah. And if Teresa resonates with you, she'd be more than delighted to connect with you as well. And you can always reach out to me and I can put you in contact. That's absolutely no problem at all.
you.
And until then, we both would like to wish you a wonderful day, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And we're sending lots of love from our hearts to your hearts. And remember that trust is there for you. And thank you for that. And you're receiving healing as well at the same time. Thank you, everybody, and bye-bye.
Bye.